In Islam, it started when Islam first came down to the Holy Prophet. There was no different sects in Islam. Islam was Islam. There wasn't one of people walking around and saying, are you a Shia, are you a Sunni, are you a Alawi, are you this, are you that? It was just people that follow the Holy Prophet. Later on down the track, as we know, things split. Now in this split, there was different ideologies. For example, the Shia split, the mainstream ideology was taken from Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi salam. That's where the theology and the blueprint, the University of Islam opened. That's why we are attributed to who? Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, al-Shia al-Ja'fariyya, Ithna Ashari al-Ja'far, right? And then the other split was our brothers and sisters from the Sunni world. Now, they had the same way we had to have a source for our theology, their source were the companions that took them back to the Holy Prophet. 200 or 300 years later emerged two mainstream schools of thought in the Sunni world, and that is the Mu'tazili school of thought and the Ash'ari. So now there was three roaming around. There was the Mu'tazili, Ash'ari, and Ja'fari. The Mu'tazili, and each one, of course, is their backbone is Islam. It's not like leaders of a cult. No, each sect or each scholar was trying to find God, and each scholar had a certain framework which they would look at these concepts like predestination, free will. The Mu'tazilis, for example, held onto the characteristic and attribute of God that says God is just and merciful. Whereas the Ash'ari held onto the attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that God is powerful and knowledgeable. So they say, of course we are predestined. Everything that happens, everything that is to happen, this is the Ash'ari school of thought. Everything God knows. God knows everything. God knows what you're going to do. He knows what you're not going to do. So on the day of judgment, God can judge whoever however He wants. So they looked at the idea that if you say that God doesn't know, then you're limiting His knowledge and His power. How can God know everything, but He doesn't know what I'm going to do? That's kufr. So Allah al-Alim. So it makes sense to a certain extent. But then you go to the Mu'tazili and they say, hold on a second, we have a problem because God's the most merciful and He's the most wise and He's just. And He would never punish me for something without my control. If I don't have control and God's written for me to commit a sin, how can you punish me for something that you've made me do? That's not just, and God's just. So where's the reconciliation? Are we predestined or is it free will? The Mu'tazili say it's free will, and the Ash'ari say we're predestined. When Imam al-Sadiq is presented with this question, he says, La jabr wa la tafweed, that we're not predestined, nor do we have free will, complete free will. Lakin amrun bayna amrayn, we are in between the two. And this is the idea that I want to share with you guys. The concept that I want to share with you, this theological concept, is the concept of bada. Now bada, I've loosely translated it to the divine unfolding. And I'm going to explain what that is in a moment. But bada is essentially one of the most crucial and important theological concepts that we have in our sect. Listen to this hadith. Imam al-Rida alayhi salam says that every single prophet that came down to this world was given two similar rulings or two similar things. Number one, the prohibition of alcohol. No prophet ever drank alcohol and was always haram. And the second is the belief in bada. Like that's how powerful this idea that I'm going to share with you is, right?
What's bada?
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm doing. I'm reframing right now. I'm getting you hooked.
Tell us what bada is.
Inshallah, by the end you should answer that. I'm going to ask you the question. Yeah. So the idea of bada is very important because internally it reconciles that issue. Am I predestined or do I have free will? And if I say neither, am I neglecting any of the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and falling into kufr? So, what is bada? Bada is understanding that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the ultimate cause of creation. And I'm going to try and break this down. And boys, if you have an issue or something that maybe you're not following, feel free to put your hand up. I'm happy to to reiterate, okay? I want you to think of, let's say for example, I have this lighter. And I press this lighter right now, and now you say fire, okay? If we were to deconstruct what just happened, and I said, what is the cause and what is the effect? What would your answer be? What's the cause and what's the effect?
Gas came out and
Combustion causing light.
Nice, that's one cause and
The
effect.
cause was you pressing it, and the effect was
That's
the
another
flame coming
cause, right? So there's many there's layers of causes. What else? What is another cause?
You chose to press it.
I chose to press it. What is another cause?
You had the urge to smoke a cigarette.
Masalan, another cause would be that this plastic, the way if you press it with enough force, the idea is there's an effect, and in the different types of ways I could look, there's different causes.
Yes.
Right? If I go to open the door, and as I'm opening the handle, and I say, "What's the cause of this door opening?" You say, my hand on the door, or do you say the doorknob? It's because there's a doorknob.
you say
Exactly. There's many different causes. The first thing, the premise that I'm trying to build here is that as many causes as you want to talk about in this world, the ultimate cause is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's the driving cause of all causes. There's nothing in this world that exists unless it's an effect of the ultimate cause, and that's Allah. So for me to be able to do anything, I am never going to be reliant on myself. I can never do anything without God because He's the ultimate cause. But what our problem is, we blame the fact that God is the ultimate cause for my sin. Whereas there's so many causes that come after that for my sin. When you commit a sin, for example, there are sources, right? So let's say for example, you masturbate. For example, yeah? The reason why I give this example because it's practical. You say, what's the cause of my masturbation right now? It's because I was watching something that I shouldn't be watching. What's the cause of me watching something that I shouldn't be watching? It's because I was on social media. What's the cause of me being on this? You can go back, cause after cause after cause after cause. If you just want to blame at the effect, like, oh my God, I fell into this sin. Why did God create me in a way where I have desire and I commit sin like this? But there's so many causes that you didn't address. Okay? So, the layer that I'm trying to build here is God is absolutely the ultimate cause. There is no way that we can be detached from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. That's the ultimate thing. The second is, and this is a very important point, and I've given this example, a lot of us know this, is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows everything. Yet He unfolds and He reveals His plan according to the choice of man that He's given. So I'll give you an example. Let's say, for example, you are going to, I want to give a practical example. Let's say you're going to meet a girl, all right? You do your due diligence and you're going and you want to get married to a sister, okay? You realize during this, the time of you getting to know her, that there are things in her that you will not be able to live with when you get married. Yet you're in love with her beauty. You just love how she looks. And you feel this constant pull and push. And at some level, when you get married, the beauty stuff fades away. You have to deal with the other stuff. Mm-hmm. Now, it's not to say that the girl's bad. It's just that for you, you just don't connect. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you the choice. Do you go and be with this girl, or do you say, no, I want to go to someone else and I'm going to refrain from it because long term it's going to impact me? If I choose going with this girl, there's going to be certain outcomes. If I choose not going with this girl, there's going to be certain outcomes. If I choose going with another girl, there's going to be certain outcomes. God knows every single one of these choices and the outcomes of every one of these choices. But He just gives you the choice to choose which one. Mm-hmm. It's not to say God doesn't know. Of course, He knows everything. He knows if you were to make this decision, what are the options you have? And what option you take, what are the options you have? And what other option you take, where it's going to lead you. He knows all that, but He gives you the choice.
He knows the butterfly effect.
He knows the butterfly. He like Benjamin put it before, God knows, but He's giving you free will at the same time. But it's not to say that He's predestined it for you. He's given you the choice, but whatever choice you choose, He knows the outcome of it. It's like, for example, when you're writing, let's say an author is writing a book. When an author is writing a book, there's a real character in the book. He's created a character, and the character actually makes real choices in chapter 1, in chapter 2, in chapter 3, choices that impact the story. And at the end of the book, you see all of these choices that come together and they produce this product, whereas the author, he's the one that gave him the choice. The author gave him all of those choices. And those choices are real. Your choice is real because it's going to impact in 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. So in your life, when you come from the frame, I don't have power, God's written it for me. No, of course He's given you power, He's given you intellect. He's given you knowledge, He's given you wisdom, He's given you ability, He's given you senses, He's given you mind, He's given you creativity, He's given you imagination. You're able to picture yourself with someone 3 years after. Like that's a unique ability, right? You can try and observe, you know yourself, you know the person you're speaking to, or for example, an action. Let's say you were about to go with some friends to a place you shouldn't go. Let's say you're going to a club. You know, if I go to this place, I'm going to get hooked onto these things, and then 2 or 3 years later, this is where it's going to take me. You're able to visualize it, and therefore make a better and more informed decision. Yet any decision you make is never going to be independent from God. Yet He's giving you the ability to sin. He's given you the freedom to sin. That's exactly what makes man so unique in comparison to every other creation. It's like the angels cannot sin. They don't have the ability to sin. Yet we have the ability, we have that. So, now a very important question comes in. What does Laylat Al Qadr have to do with this? How can we connect this to the night of destiny? Because in the night of destiny, you are praying for what? You're praying, Ya Allah, A, allow me to see the beauty in the choices that you have put in front of me. B, allow me to choose the best choice amongst these choices. C, allow me to do it for you and only you. In Laylat Al Qadr, you're transforming your inner world, you're transforming your inner purpose and your destiny by going to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and saying, I am willing to right now do and make the choices that I need to make to come to you. And when you come to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in these nights with sincerity, you're honest about what you are and about who you are. We were talking about before, one of the brothers was saying, he hasn't felt that spiritual. He hasn't felt that spiritual in Shahr Ramadan. What am I supposed to do? You realize you're not supposed to do anything in Shahr Ramadan, in the nights of Qadr. You're supposed to be, just be. Don't do anything, just be. Don't try and accomplish anything, just be. Just try and be present. Be present in the moment and acknowledge that I do not have control over everything. Ultimately, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Ultimately, this is the night where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's the one that draws the destiny. He's the one that chooses your choices. When we're saying destiny, what are we saying? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, iftahli, open up my choices. Boys, even if you do 1,000,000 dua for God to make you 1, 2, 3, and 4, He's not going to make you 1, 2, 3, and 4. He's going to give you the choice and the opportunity. You have to choose. Like sometimes the best girl can come your way, but you're not in the right state of mind. So Allah's not just sending me my nasib. No, you just haven't worked on yourself. It's not that He hasn't sent you His nasib. You haven't become your nasib. You haven't been deserving of your nasib. You haven't seen it yet. Right? For example, it's God hasn't written me my sustenance and my rizqah. No, He's given you the power and the ability and the opportunity to have rizqah. What have you done with it? You spent time on Netflix, spent time on TikTok, spent time on social media, spent time playing games. And you tell me, well, Allah ma razaqni. But even if you do all the ad'iyah and Laylat Al Qadr and you're going to go to that, nothing's going to happen. Because God's going to give you the choices and the opportunities, but you're not going to choose them. Because you're not going to see them. You want God to open your eyes in Laylat Al Qadr. How? By being. Just by being. Being in the moment. Being present. When you're reading Dua al-Jawshan, you're reading Dua al-Jawshan. When you're reading verse 92, you're reading verse 92. You're not thinking about 98 and 99 and well, it's almost finished. You're not thinking about the completion. You're thinking about quality. You want to be in the moment here. Because in this moment, something, I can understand something. Something can touch and penetrate my heart to influence my behavior, to influence how I feel, to influence and change the way I see the world. You're trying in dua to see the world through the eyes of the Imam. And this night is especially important because Laylat Al Qadr, now we were talking about the practical benefits from the spiritual aspect, it's the night of the Tanzeel of the Holy Quran. The night of Qadr is the night where the essence of the Holy Quran was brought down and to the Holy Prophet, to the heart of the Holy Prophet. And over years he started to reveal the Quran. But the connection between the heavens and the earth was established in Laylat Al Qadr. And the connection continues, but it continues with who? With a spiritual master that can receive this knowledge. Boys, I want you to think about it like this. Imagine a huge generator, an energy generator, electricity. Imagine something huge and now connect it to a light bulb. What happens to the light bulb? It blows up. It can't handle the electricity. So I run it through what? The resistance. The Imams are the resistors of knowledge. They're the ones that they transmit the knowledge, the divine, because we can't handle it. No human being could handle wahi. No one could handle revelation from Jibreel except for the heart of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's why he was chosen. And that's why it was hard. Boys, you know when you read the hadiths of how the Prophet used to handle, it was hard. It was hard to handle revelation. The hadiths say that the physical body of the Prophet would shake for days on end when he'd feel wahi. Because it's a massive generator connecting. So they filter. Who is the filter? The Imam of our time, Sahib al-Zaman. So when you want to receive knowledge in this night in our time, you go to the grandson of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When you tie the fact that your destiny is tied to your Imam. Inna anzalnahu fi Laylat Al Qadr. وما أدراك ما ليلة القدر ليلة القدر خير من ألف شهر تنزل الملائكة. You know what تنزل الملائكة, that they're going up and down. والروح فيها. Where do they go to? Where do the angels go to? To the heart of Sahib al-Zaman. تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر سلام هي حتى مطلع الفجر. Inshallah tonight we can have this salam together up until Fajr. But if you want to rewrite your destiny, you want to say, how does my dua impact? It impacts by giving ultimate control to the ones that deserve that control. In these nights, you're not just thinking about, you're trying to come to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wholeheartedly and truthfully, who you are, like unfiltered, not trying to accomplish, not trying to finish, but trying to be in the moment and develop a relationship of honesty and sincerity with Sahib Zaman. You want to be honest with him. Imam, I apologize to you. Like I've been really, really absent from you. I've been distant from you. I love you, yet I'm not acting like a person that loves you. I'm not behaving in a way of someone that wants to be a companion of yours. Yet I really want to. I want to establish that relationship. I want my dua to reconnect me to you, so that you remember me, so that even after Shahr Ramadan, after these holy nights, I'm able to observe you in my day, in my night, and always conscious of you. Inshallah, this is what we want to try and achieve in these holy nights. To look at Ali ibn Abi Talib and try and experience his emotions in the dua that he would recite. Experience the emotions that Imam al-Mahdi is experiencing right now. And with that, inshallah, we will enter Dua al-Jawshan with a new spirit. A spirit of seeking. As you read each verse, my bros, try and like really connect to each verse that you're reciting. Like, how is it relevant to you? Imagine you have a doctor and he's prescribing you medication. It prescribes you, Allah, you have Nurofen for your headache. and then Nurofen for your leg ache, and then Nurofen for your stomach ache. Alright? What is each verse a prescription of?
Panadol still.
والحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى اللهم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين.